So you want to be a welder, now what? This video is going to go over a few different ways to get started as a welder and then what companies look for in a welder and in an employee. I think one of the biggest misconceptions that most people have is that you need to lay the prettiest bead and it's all about the cosmetic and it's got to look great. Most employers don't look for that in a welder. They're looking for someone who can lay a good weld, but there's so much more that goes in it. You have to compensate for the distortion. And then the main part, you need to show up to work on Monday. The consistency, the work ethic, and the character are what most companies look for. You don't have to be the best welder in the world, you just have to be teachable. One of the ways that people get into welding, they go to a trade school or a welding specific school. Most of the time, these programs are a 7 to 9 month program. When you come out, you have experience in one or more processes of welding. TIG, stick, MIG, sometimes even sub-arc, and you can go straight into the job force. A lot of times, these programs are often flexible, so sometimes you can even be working a full-time job and do either a night school or an after hours or even a weekend courses. So they're much more flexible than the traditional college or university. On top of that, compared to a 4-year degree, this saves you tens of thousands of dollars. Certain areas of welding, you do need formal education, a college degree in it. If you're going to be a welding inspector, absolutely. You need that background, you need that in-depth education. But to be a production welder, to be a fabricator, to run your own welding business, you don't need a college degree. Most independent welders that run their own company, very few of them have any formal schooling. Most of them are self-taught. Another option is what my dad calls YouTube University. You can go to a welding supply store, get a good 120 volt multi-process machine, plug it into the wall in your garage, and just get started. Start making a table, whatever you want. But there's hundreds of hours of tutorials on YouTube, and this is an incredible way for you to get experience, get your hands on it, mess up some parts, whatever you got to do to get going and learn. You can get set up with a good machine, your welding hood, your gas, your wire, your gloves, for maybe $1,700. With welding and anything else that you want to do in life, one of the most important things is just to get going, just to get started. Welding is not this mystical skill. This is a skill just like any other one. It takes time and practice to get good at it. And it doesn't have to be the biggest or the best. You don't need a $15,000 welding setup. You don't want a $150 one from Amazon. I've tried it, they don't work, okay? Don't waste your time. But the most important thing is just get started. Another important reason for you to just get started welding is you might find you don't like it. You might figure out that welding when it's 100 degrees in Texas is not the line of work you want to be into. So it's best to find that out in real time, in person, before you invest a whole bunch of money in training and schooling. So just get started. The last option we're going to talk about is if you really need to be working right now, go and apply at a fabrication company or a welding company and apply as a welder's helper. You won't be making great money, but the lessons that you're learning there are invaluable. So as you're working, you're seeing how the welders solve issues, you see everything that goes into it, and then one day when the company gets a large job or someone doesn't show up for work, you'll step into that position and you'll start welding. And then you're off to the races. While you're there, you can practice welding on your lunch breaks. You can ask your boss if you can practice after hours. Use the scrap metal with permission and get some experience, get some hours under the hood. So that way, when the opportunity shows up, you're ready for it. We had a young guy who worked with us right out of high school. He worked as a helper, and while he was working with us, he was going to school the whole time. And when he finished his degree, he actually decided that he liked welding better, and he got an opportunity to go full-time as a welder. You don't need a degree. You don't need a fancy machine in your garage. You just need experience. Every building that you go into, every bridge you cross, someone has welded on that. This industry is still growing. It's not slowing down. And as more and more products are reshored back into the United States, the demand for welders and the related trades are booming. So get out there and get started.